Howdy, my name is Brett. I am a compulsive overeater. Welcome to the first ever Dallas Virtual Convention. This session's format is a 15-minute guided meditation followed by discussion by Shelley on how she applies the 11th step in her life. There will be time for journaling and sharing. Here is some housekeeping information. Attendees are set to mute. We ask you to rename yourself to your first name and last initial. If you wish, you can add your phone number or email. The session is being recorded. Understand that only the audio portion will be made available. No video, only audio. Please stop your video if you're walking around, driving, or eating. You will still be able to hear the session. We may turn off your video for you. Please send a chat message when you're ready to have your video turned back on. If you want to change your view settings, click on the view button on the top right of your screen. You may choose either gallery or speaker view. Also, please note the chat is set to host only. Questions and comments will only be seen by the host. Our guide for meditation today is Shelley.
Okay, I'm muted. Okay, thank you. My name is Shelley Bass. I'm a compulsive overeater. Thank you for joining this morning. I am going to lead us in an 11th step on awakening meditation. And this is a program of action. So we're going to take a couple of actions first. If you are so willing and you have a big book available, we're going to reference the big book. And I would love for you to have a journal and a writing utensil to work with so that we can take action on our spiritual program this morning. So I'm going to give just a minute for you all to do that if you would like to, and then we will get started. Okay, if you have a big book and would like to follow along, I'm going to start on page 63 and open this meditation with the third step prayer. God, I offer myself to thee, to build with me and to do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. May I do thy will always. As we enter this time of meditation, we're going to turn to page 83 of the big book. And I want to read we're going to move on over to 85, and I'll read starting with, it is easy. It is easy to let up on the spiritual program of action and rest on our laurels. We are headed for trouble if we do, for alcohol is a subtle foe. We are not cured of alcoholism. What we really have is a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. Every day is a day when we must carry the vision of God's will into all of our activities. How can I best serve thee? Thy will, not mine, be done. These are thoughts which must go with us constantly. We can exercise our willpower along this line all we wish. It is the proper use of the will. Much has already been said about receiving strength, inspiration, and direction from Him who has all knowledge and power. If we have carefully followed directions, we have begun to sense the flow of His Spirit into us. To some extent, we have become God conscious. We have begun to develop this vital sixth sense, but we must go further, and that means more action. All right, we're going to begin our morning meditation as instructed by the big book. Beginning on page 86, you will see the famous paragraph that begins on awakening. On awakening, let us think about the 24 hours ahead. We consider our plans for the day. Before we begin, we ask God to direct our thinking, especially asking that it be divorced from self-pity, dishonest, or self-seeking motives. Under these conditions, we can employ our mental faculties with assurance, for after all, God gave us brains to use. Our thought life will be placed on a much higher plane when our thinking is cleared of wrong motives. So I'll stop there and pray for this group. God, we ask you to direct our thinking. We especially ask you that you divorce that thinking from self-pity, from dishonest motives, and from self-seeking motives, so that we can employ the brains that you gave us to the best of our ability. Now, if you would take out your pencil and writing utensil and piece of paper and think through the 24 hours ahead. It's 7:06 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and we have a full day ahead of us. Think through what's going to happen. Jot that down. What are your goals for the day? What are your hopes? What are your action plans for keeping your program at the center of your life? I'm going to give you 2 minutes to make those notes. Okay. Hope you've thought through your day. I hope you've thought positive, encouraging thoughts about it. And I wonder for you if it happens as it does for me. We'll read the next paragraph. In thinking about our day, we may face indecision. We may not be able to determine which course to take. Here we ask God for inspiration and intuitive thought or decision. We relax and take it easy. We do not struggle. So I want you to all take a deep breath. Think about relaxing your mind. Relaxing your neck and shoulders. Settling into your position. Feeling yourself present where you are. Surrounded by God. Connected to all the people in this meditation, to all the people in this program, and to all the people around the world right now. Now that we're relaxed, think about the list that you made. Think about your day. You can't see into the future, but there may be certain things that are worrying you, certain things that you don't know how to handle that you may face today. Perhaps temptation to succumb to the disease, perhaps nervousness over a role you may be playing today, perhaps a resentment that is still on your mind. Take a couple minutes and write down anything that may be heavy on your heart, heavy on your mind, or causing you any anxiety that you may need to turn over to God right now. Okay. To the extent that this exercise has brought up any resentments that we need to take care of, we are going to stay in the resentment prayer. Now we'll go through this. It's on page 66 of the big book. I'd like to start with, Dear God, we realize that people who wronged us are perhaps spiritually sick. Though we do not like their symptoms and the way they disturb us, they, like ourselves, are sick too. We ask you, God, to help us show them the same tolerance, pity, and patience that we would cheerfully grant a sick friend. When a person offended us, we say to ourselves, this is a sick person. How can I be helpful to him? God, save me from being angry. Thy will be done. Okay. We go back to page 86 and 87, and we learn that after we've relaxed and taken it easy, and we've shared this information with God, we are often surprised how the right answers come to us after we have tried this for a while. What used to be the hunch or occasional inspiration gradually becomes a working part of the mind. Being still inexperienced and having just made conscious contact with God, it is not probable that we are going to be inspired at all times. We might pay for this presumption in all sorts of absurd actions and ideas. Nevertheless, we find that our thinking will, as time passes, be more and more on the plane of inspiration. We come to rely. I'm going to pause here and ask God to be with us as we move through this day imperfectly. We know that we can be misguided by our own disease, by our own thoughts that are not of God, and we forgive ourselves for those, and we ask for His forgiveness as well. And we will move forward, learning from any mistakes we made and trudging the road of happy destiny. Now, we usually conclude this portion of the meditation with a prayer. So I'll say that prayer now. We will, God, please let us be shown all throughout the day what our next step is to be, and that we be given whatever we need to take care of such problems. We especially ask for freedom from self-will and are careful to make no request for ourselves only. We may ask for ourselves, however, if others will be happy. We are careful never to pray for our own selfish needs. Many of us have wasted a lot of time doing that, and it doesn't work. You can easily see why. I'm going to pause there. At this point, we're going to write down any prayers that we have for today that are not selfish in nature, but rather requests for guidance from God that would help not only us, but others in this world, how we can be useful. I also invite you to write down thank yous to God or whoever your higher power may be for the things you're grateful for today. So I'm going to pause and give you a couple minutes to write these down. Okay, as we turn these prayers and gratitudes over to God, we're going to keep following the directions in the big book. Now says, if circumstances warrant, we ask our wives or friends to join us in morning meditation. If we belong to a religious denomination which requires definite morning devotion, we attend to that also. If not members of religious bodies, we sometimes select and memorize a few set prayers which emphasize the principles we have been discussing. There are many helpful books also. Suggestions about these may be obtained from one's priest, minister, or rabbi. Be quick to see where religious people are right. Make use of what they offer. Here, the big book is essentially turning us loose to add to our meditation what we need for our spiritual development. At this point, I like to say any prayers that are important to me. One that is often used in 12-step programs that appears in the AA 12 and 12 is the prayer of St. Francis. So I'm going to read that now. Lord, make me a channel of thy peace, that where there is hatred, I may bring love, that where there is wrong, I may bring the spirit of forgiveness, that where there is discord, I may bring harmony, that where there is error, I may bring truth, that where there is doubt, I may bring faith, that where there is despair, I may bring hope, that where there are shadows, I may bring light, that where there is sadness, I may bring joy. Lord, grant that I may seek rather to comfort than to be comforted, to understand than to be understood, to love than to be loved. For it is by self-forgetting that one finds. It is by forgiving that one is forgiven. It is by dying that one awakens to eternal life. Amen. You'll notice that in this paragraph, it also leads us to helpful books that are available either through our religious bodies, through our own spiritual path. These are sources that are not necessarily program resources, but whatever nourishes you in your spiritual path. As an example, however, this is the time in the meditation, according to page 86 to 87, that we can turn to other program literature. And I'm going to read from, for today, June 12th, as an example of what we can add to our meditation at this time. We know what a person thinks, not when he tells us what he thinks, but by his actions. Isaac Bashevis Singer. Members of Overeaters Anonymous who practice the principles of the 12-step program in their lives are said to walk the way they talk. Newcomers sometimes find it difficult to distinguish them from our brothers and sisters who merely talk the talk. There are some in the latter category who, by virtue of having lost weight, are thought to be authorities on the program. They tell us how to eat, how to work the program, what to do about our problems, in short, how to live our lives. To know what people really believe, we must look not at what they tell us, but at what they do. What is the state of their personal relationships? Is there some stability there as a result of practicing the program of recovery, or are they leaving a trail of wrecked lives as they go? These individuals are still sick, though they may be abstinent and maintaining normal weight. For today, I may fool myself and others by my talk, but my illness cannot be fooled. After engaging in this reading and whatever other readings that are important to you, I conclude this meditation with the 7th step prayer, which is on page 76 of our Big Books. If you'd like to follow along, it's the second full paragraph. My Creator, I am now willing that you should have all of me, good and bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Grant me strength as I go out from here to do your bidding. Amen. Okay, that concludes our 11th step meditation. I hope that you enjoyed that. I'm going to talk for a few minutes about what this means to me and how I use it in my recovery. I can tell you that when left to my own devices, I don't do very well. I face a lot of indecision. I get agitated and I get doubtful. And I try to do too much. I overthink things and my perfectionism gets in the way. So when I was shown that the Big Book gives specific instructions on how to conduct a morning meditation, I was so relieved by that. And I still have taken those instructions and tried to make them more complicated than they need to be, or not seen what I was supposed to do there. And so over time, I really analyzed these paragraphs dealing with the On Awakening, and it has become the pillar of my spiritual program. So I'm not an authority on this, but I can tell you that when we first read these paragraphs, it's hard to see those instructions. It's easy to go through this in a rote fashion and not really dig into what it says, but it's all there. It's all there, and it provides me with comfort and just relief that I don't have to invent this. You know, one of my favorite parts of this, and something that does not come naturally to me, is we relax and take it easy. I don't know about y'all, but relaxing and taking it easy when it comes to addressing the things that cause me to wring my hands, these things that we've written down as our resentments, as our fears, as our worries, I don't do well with that. I can feel my shoulders in my ears. I am not a relaxed person. I am high strung. So the fact that it tells me this and that I don't struggle, I think about how much I can take just a small problem and turn it over and over in my head. And I realized that my looking for strategies and answers is the opposite of surrender. Struggling is the opposite of surrender. One of our speakers today, when I heard him speak at the convention in 2018, he said, surrendering is just joining the winning side. I want to be on the winning side. I don't need to struggle against it. All of the people in this room, we're on the same team. I want to be on your team. I want to be on a team of a power greater than ourselves, because my best thinking got me in a whole bunch of trouble. I think about the different kinds of suffering, and there's the suffering of physical pain that we can't always control. There's the suffering of consequences that we can't always control. But what we can control are the stories we tell ourselves about that suffering and what we do with it. And the acceptance and surrender of this program is how I keep from creating more suffering for myself. I don't have to do this alone. I don't have to believe the stories that my disease tells me or that the world tells me about who I am, what is valued in me, and what I should do with my character defects. So this really helps me to stay grounded. And I try to read in the morning after I do this, the next paragraph. I believe it's going to be on page 87 at this point. Yes, the bottom of page 87. Okay. No, the bottom of page 86. In thinking about our day, we may, no, that's separate. Yes, the bottom of page 87, sorry for the confusion. As we go through the day, we pause when agitated or doubtful and ask for the right thought or action. We constantly remind ourselves we are no longer running the show. Humbly say to ourselves many times each day, thy will be done. We are then in much less danger of excitement, fear, anger, worry, self-pity, or foolish decisions. We become much more efficient. We do not tire so easily, for we are not burning up energy foolishly, as we did when we were trying to arrange life to suit ourselves. It works. It really does. We alcoholics are undisciplined, so we let God discipline us in the simple way we have just outlined. Then we learn the foreshadowing, but this is not all. There is action and more action. Faith without works is dead. The next chapter is entirely devoted to step 12. I believe that I'm going to continue speaking for a few more minutes, and then we're going to open this up to questions or sharing. So I'd just like to talk about that paragraph and what it means to me for a few minutes. I don't know about you, but that sentence where it says we are then in much less danger of excitement, fear, anger, worry, self-pity, or foolish decisions, those words describe how I live when I'm in my disease. I am overly excited. Anyone who knows me can tell you that when I am not in fit spiritual condition, I am a basket case, just bouncing off the walls with excitement in a negative way. Fear runs my mind, my actions, my heart. I like to say that I used to say that I don't get angry, I don't get mad at people. But of course I do. That comes out as anxiety, fear. I turn it around inward on myself, blame myself, create more self-hatred that just fuels my worry, my self-pity, and my foolish decisions. So I am so relieved when I read this sentence that I'm going to be in much less danger of that. I'm not completely out of danger, but I'm in much less danger. And to the extent that I can keep working this program, I get rid of all of that dirty water in my cup and fill it with the clean water of my higher power. And it gets less and less cloudy until over time, hopefully, it's completely clear. So I'm going to stop with that and go ahead and open this up. I would love to hear how you use these pages in the big book, the 11th step to act in your spiritual program, how it enriches you. And obviously also, if you have any questions for me, I'm going to turn it over to the leader who will read to you the instructions on sharing and asking questions.
Thank you, Shelley. We'll now open the floor for 2-minute shares. Please focus your shares on answering the question, what is your main takeaway? How will you apply this to your program? To share, please raise your virtual hand by selecting raise hand at the bottom of the reaction menu at the bottom of your screen or at the bottom of the participant list. If you're joining by phone, please use *9 to raise and lower your hand. The leader will call on you to share. Please select unmute to speak. The timer will signal when time's up. The meeting is now open sharing. The leader will call on people as they raise their hand. And we'll get started with whoever raises their hand first.
Davney, go ahead.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Brett. Thank you so much, Shelley. I'm Davney, recovering compulsive overeater from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Thank you for sharing such a beautiful, simple way of meditation this morning. I was just blown away by what I did. In addition to your calm voice and the peaceful attitude, you took the words of the big book and brought them to life for me today. And I really am grateful for that. I've read them for years. It's very easy to read, but you brought I just felt the energy. I felt your energy and your positive attitude. So I thank you for that and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Looking forward to everything. I pass.
Thank you.
Danielle, go ahead.
Hi, my name's Danielle. I took myself off video because it helps with the internet connection. My name's Danielle. I'm a compulsive overeater in Oklahoma. Thank you so much for sharing this morning meditation, 11-step meditation. In my big book, I have notes in the margins of other people and workshops and times that I've been in OA for the last 13 years of who has shared the same instructions. And in the big book, and every time everyone has something new to say, new to bring to it. And I thoroughly enjoyed this morning's presentation. When I get up in the morning, I have my OA materials close by in a big bag. I have a folder that I keep prayers in. So I open up the folder and grab prayers and read those. Then I will take the OA book that I'm currently studying, be it Steps, Traditions for Today, Voices of Recovery, or another book, and I will read the passage and then work on that. Some of the books have workbooks that have a question, or for example, right now I'm working through the traditions, and the traditions have questions at the back. And then I write on that, and then later I share that with my sponsor. By doing this, the recovery that I've received and the connection to my higher power and loss of anxiety and depression, receiving mental, physical, and spiritual recovery over the last 13 years has been such a joy and a miracle in my life. And with that, I'll pass.
Thank you, Danielle. Seneca, go ahead.
Hi, this is Seneca. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm so happy to be in meditation with you. This process has been amazing for me. My story is I've been in OA for 12 years, recovered and abstinent since 2019, but been surviving relapse. I know that I've had recovery, but by not having a routine, by not establishing myself in what the big book and how it says it, taking it literally, this simple process lets me know if I'm starting on track or if I'm starting in my will. My self-will run riot. I literally do these things, and it's been amazing. And because of that, I feel like I have something to share. I have something to lay a foundation for me, and it's by putting my own this just one step at a time, and it's one day at a time. And I'm so grateful to hear that shared today. So I'll pass. Thank you.
I'd like to raise my hand, which I don't know if I can do or not. I'm Adrian. I'm a recovering compulsive overeater. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Shelley. I've gotten so much out of this, some peace and some focus. And when I'm doing my step 11, and I ask God and go over my day with God, what it looks like, I go within with God and ask God, how am I to show up? I ask God what my intentions are for the day. I look within, and like today, I looked within, and I'm to show up with love and confidence and knowing that convention is going to unfold in divine order. perfectly. Everybody's going to show up on their A game. I have that faith in knowing that I'm supposed to show up with trust and belief. And I have that knowing. So I'm going to act as if. That is my step 3. I've got a bigger God in step 2. So that's how I apply my step 11. I have to include going within and asking God what he wants me to be today, and listen and go hand in hand with God and just do as I'm directed. Thanks.
Thank you, Adrian.
Thank you, Adrian. We've got time for one more share. Or Sunny? No, you don't. Thank you for the laugh.
If no one else would like to share, or even if you did jump in and interrupt me, but I like to conclude meetings that I run whenever we have step studies and whatnot with the last paragraph of A Vision for You, which is on page 164 of the big book. It says, abandon yourself to God as you understand God. Admit your faults to Him and to your fellows. Clear away the wreckage of your past. Give freely of what you find and join us. We shall be with you in the fellowship of the Spirit, and you will surely meet some of us as you trudge the road of happy destiny. May God bless you and keep you until then.
Anyone else? Last chance. We'd like to thank everyone who joined us this morning, and Shelley for sharing with us this morning.